Hi, this is Doug Whedon with thewalledgarden.net. Well, as we talk about stewardship, let's talk about our excess resources for a minute. In the pattern of the world, when we are functioning according to our old nature, according to the world system, instinctually, looking out for our own benefit, trying to pursue our own fulfillment, and we remain insatiable, and emaciated, and those kind of things. There are no realms of excess in our life, because what we do is since we're working with finite resources to try to fulfill an infinite need, we're always trying to squeeze everything we can out of every resource we have, whether that be, a commodity, or whether that be a relationship. Whatever the case may be, we're trying to get everything we can out, because it doesn't seem like anything is making a dent in our fulfillment. And so there in that picture, there is no excess on our part. There's no excess to be stewards of. The best we can do, is sporadically share, some of the stuff we're throwing into the bottomless pit as we go along, just to make ourselves feel better in the process, when we're in the mood. And then we can, through discipline, try to get us to hold that course and share as often as we can. But in the end, we're drug along into what we call realism, and the reality of the situation. We need to use everything we've got for ourselves. So the point is, there is no excess when it comes to a normal pagan life, when it comes to a life without God, when it comes to religiosity, or just an amiability towards God, when we haven't come to repentance. But when we have come to repentance, when we come to this place of abandoning ourselves to Him, and as He said, seek ye first the kingdom, and that doesn't mean seek ye first in the sense of a linear line of there's many things after it. If you do it first, then you can go on to other stuff. But it's more like worshiping God with nothing else on the horizon. There's no competition whatsoever. And so we seek first the kingdom and His righteousness, and He says all these things will be added unto you. Everything that you used to pursue, the worry of making money, and the protection and security and pleasure and personal value, and all these things that people typically pursue, I'll take care of. It's like a guaranteed security in our lives. It's like He's given us a coupon that says, this, whatever you run up on this bill, I'll pay for, as long as you have simplified your agenda and keep your attention on me. When that happens, we suddenly have excess, because being fulfilled by God is phenomenally different than trying to keep throwing stuff in this bottomless pit. Suddenly we understand that our life that has been wrapped up in the pursuit of something that we could never attain was all of a sudden attained. And all of a sudden we come to this place of understanding that we have excess in our lives. And it's a miracle. I mean, it's nothing but a miracle in the process. He is truly our shield and great reward. So at that point, we begin to see when enough is enough, for instance. We come to a place where we say, boy, I don't have to downtrade my time anymore for money. I don't have to trade this precious commodity I have of time to make more money. It just doesn't have to happen. And so suddenly we have an excess of time, and we're able to start considering what I'm going to do with that time. At that time, we begin to see that we can utilize that time in something we've talked about, which is incarnate ministry, where we can actually take our lives and inject them into the lives of other people. We're not all wrapped up in the old system where we just were busy and couldn't break free, you see. Excess is a phenomenal miracle that God provides for us when this change occurs inside us. It's also a time where we can start considering if we do need to downtrade some time to get some resources so that we can help in acts of kindness in other people's lives. Because as we are working incarnately and we become clear about the two parts of the ministry, and we become good at, better and better at the message of reconciliation, we also can start developing resources for helping people out as acts of kindness, whether that's emotional or financial or whatever the case. We can, because we have excess, we can back off and start to consider how we can use and manage that excess in a way that would underpin the ministry that we're involving ourselves in. It's interesting thing. At this point, we can also start thinking about, there's like a matching program, when it comes to the ministry, if that's the right phrase. There's this place where we can develop resources to help in acts of kindness, and God contributes to that as well from his part, and we become a team. Obviously we're a team in the ministry, but we don't always realize that we're a team in producing resources too, in helping develop these acts of kindness in people's lives. And so we start looking at that God has a contribution to make and we have a contribution to make, and what could we do when you put those two things together? At that point, we can also begin to see how he holds us up emotionally in things that were impossible before, how he holds us up financially and physically and intellectually in places that were impossible before, because the excess is not just in money, but he starts providing the emotions we need for ministry. He begins to give us the ability to conceptualize and put into words things that are poignant and not secondhand knowledge out of commentaries and things like that, but directly to us that we can give to other people. And we begin to get excess in these things that were impossible before. And all of this is part of our stewardship. All of this is, and there's more, I just kind of went through a list that I had written down here. But when he invites us into the ministry, there is suddenly excess in our lives because of repentance. And that excess can be financial, it can be time, it can be emotional, it can be intellectual. There is all sorts of things involved because we thought, we couldn't get involved with that because I just don't have it in me to make this happen. Interestingly enough, he can put it in us. And so we become stewards of this massive treasure that's been put upon us. And we can get bowled over with the enormity of the excess that we're given once we come to repentance. I would encourage you to be good stewards of our excess. I encourage you to step out of the world system, come up for air, and take a breath.